Water kept talking to me that weekend. Not ocean water, just the shitty plumbing in my building, the radiator hiss, the toilet tank refilling, the drip that never stops even when you swear you tighten the faucet. I took a weekend gig running the live chat queue for a small game studio because my paycheck got garnished and I was broken away that makes you do dumb things. Overnight support rep, apartment desk. Headset, script, dashboard timer that punished you for breathing. Clear tickets fast, hit my bonus, and crash. The game they supported was some deep-sea survival thing. All submarines and pressure gauges and oxygen-low alarms. The chat theme even had little bubbles that floated up the side of the window. Goo. At 1:12 a.m., I handled the usual sewage. Refund request. Angry kid. My gems didn't show. Your devs are thieves. I pasted the template, clicked resolve, watched my average handle time drop, listened to the pipes tick like they were counting with me. Then one user slid into my queue. New account. No purchase history. Name like Minty Panda. Polite. Full sentences, no emojis. He asked about a chargeback, but he didn't follow the steps I gave him. He steered it sideways, asking what shift I worked, if it was just you tonight, if I got tired listening to people whine. I stuck to the script and tried to end it. Before he disconnected, he typed my full name. First and last. Spelled right. My agent tag only showed support. No name. No inicials. My stomach dropped. I asked how he had it. He didn't answer. He wrote, "You type fast," and left. 10 minutes later, a different username popped up. Same clean tone. Same calm questions. I ended it quicker. He typed my name again, then added my apartment number, the exact number on my door. I blocked him. He came back under a third name. Like blocking was a suggestion. I hit block again. This time he got a file in before the system kicked him. A screenshot of my building lobby camera view. Not a random lobby. My lobby. The sad fake wood bench. The dead plant. The security monitor grid on the desk. One of the little squares was the hallway outside my unit. I could see my own door and the dark stain on the carpet where somebody spilled something last month. The pipes in my wall clicked. A drip hit metal somewhere. I ripped my headset off and walked to my door. I looked through the peephole. Empty hall. Yellow light. No footsteps. No elevator. Just that building hush that always feels like you're the only one awake. I went back to my desk and slammed out a message to my overnight lead in Slack. User is doxing me. Has my name and address. Sent lobby cam screenshot. He replied with a thumbs up and block and report. I typed back. He can see my fucking door. He wrote, "Keep you moving." I told him to escalate it to security or IT. He sent, "Not my call," and immediately pinged me about my handle time like I was slacking. I wanted to scream. Instead, I kept working because rent doesn't care. I closed tickets. I watched the bubble theme float up beside the chats like I was underwater and running out of air. Around 3 a.m., my phone started buzzing. Password reset emails. One after another. Gmail, bank, streaming, delivery apps, stuff I forgot I even had. Then texts with verification codes. Then calls that rang once and stopped. Not random. Timed. Buzz like someone tapping the glass of an aquarium. I threw my phone on the couch and started changing passwords anyway, fast, messy. I mistyped. I cursed. My hand shook. The radiator hissed like it was laughing at me. Water moved behind my walls the whole time, constant like the building was breathing. A new chat popped up. New username. Same polite voice. One line. Your hands are wet. I looked down without thinking. My palms weren't wet, but sweat made them feel slick. I blocked him. Another chat appeared a minute later. I blocked that too. My queue kept feeding him to me like the system wanted me to drown. At 4 a.m., the building buzzer started. Long press. Let go. Long press again. The intercom crackled with nothing, like somebody held their mouth close to it and just breathed. I didn't answer. My screen flashed with another chat request. He typed, "You should buzz me in. It's raining." It was raining outside. I hadn't checked, but I could hear it now, water against the window, down the fire escape into the gutter. I stayed still. I listened. My phone buzzed again, another reset, Another code, another little wave hitting my shore. The next night, the cops came. I hadn't slept. I logged in anyway because I needed the money and because I kept telling myself I was being paranoid. Around 2 a.m., someone hammered my door so hard the frame shook. Police! I yanked it open a crack, half dressed, hands up like I was already guilty. 2 cops filled the doorway with flashlights, and that hard look like they decided the story before they heard it. They asked where the hostage was. Someone had called 911 for my address. Woman screaming, "He's going to kill me." The words sounded fake even repeating them, but the cops didn't treat it like a prank. They pushed past me, swept my apartment, checked the bathroom, opened my closet, looked under my bed. My neighbors cracked their doors and filmed like it was a show. One of them actually said, "Jesus," loud like I couldn't hear. I tried to explain. I showed the reset emails. I pulled up the lobby screenshot on my laptop with my hands, shaking so bad I kept missing the trackpad. One cop stared at my support dashboard like he recognized it, like screens were just screens to him. The other one asked if I had enemies, if I'd been doing drugs, if I'd been online with people. Like the internet was a bar I got kicked out of. They left without apologizing. The hallway stayed awake after them. Doors shut slowly. Someone laughed in the stairwell. I stood there with my face burning, hearing the rain run down the glass and feeling like my apartment had turned into a fishbowl. In the morning, HR called. Not my lead, not Derek, some woman with a voice like a voicemail. She said I was terminated for bringing risk to the company. I told her I'd been targeted through their platform. I told her I warned them. She cut me off and repeated, "This decision is final." Then she asked me to confirm my address for mailing my last check. I said, "Don't mail me shit." And she got sharp, like I was the rude one, and warned me to watch my tone. I changed routers. I wiped devices. I reset my phone. I called the building manager and told him someone accessed the lobby cameras. He acted like I accused him personally. He said the system was secure. I told him secure doesn't mean anything if some creep already has it. He told me to stop throwing accusations around, then threatened to fine me for tampering if I touched the camera cabinet downstairs. I hung up on him with my ear buzzing. I crashed at a friend's for a few nights. I didn't tell her everything at first. She saw my phone buzzing with codes and got angry in that righteous way people get when it isn't happening to them. She wanted to post about it, to hunt him. I snapped at her to shut up. We argued in circles until she finally told me I was acting like I wanted this. That one cut deep. I grabbed my bag and left her place shaking. After a week, the buzzing slowed. The chat stopped because I didn't have a job anymore. The silence didn't feel safe. It felt like the moment after you surface and realize you swallowed water and your lungs still burn. I went back to my apartment at noon on a Tuesday for clothes. Daylight, normal hours, the kind of time creeps hate. The lobby smelled like wet carpet. Rainwater tracked in. The elevator floor squished under my shoes. A brown water line stained the drywall by the mailboxes like the building had flooded at some point and never fully admitted it. I opened my mailbox and found a padded envelope jammed inside. No stump, no return address, just my name printed clean. I carried it upstairs like it might leak. I set it on my counter and stared at it while my kitchen sink dripped, steady, stupid, unstoppable. Then I tore it open. Inside was a thick stack of paper, printed chat logs. Not the creepy ones. My actual support tickets. Every boring refund, every ban appeal, every time I pasted the template. My words, my timestamps, notes in the margins in neat pen, like someone grading me. Here you hesitate. Here you type slower. Here you check the hallway cam. Scared here. Tired here. On one page, he circled a typo and wrote, hands shaking. He'd underlined the moments where my responses paused for a few seconds, like he could see me stop to listen to the pipes. He marked the exact minute the cops knocked because my ticket closure stalled. It wasn't just a log. It was a map of my reactions. Last page was a single sheet with big block letters. You live alone again now. I agreed to clean out a storage unit after work because I needed cash for my mom's meds. I was the night clerk at a pawn shop. The unit was abandoned and paid in advance. My plan was to bag trash, keep sellable stuff, and be out before midnight. I told myself it was simple work, the kind of dirty side job people do when their life starts shrinking down to receipts and pill bottles. My mom's pharmacy didn't care that I worked nights. They didn't care that her insurance played games. They just wanted a card that swiped, and I didn't have enough on mine. The property manager hit me through a sketchy dispatch text. No real company name, just a guy talking like he owned the place. He promised cash, same night. I asked for more info, and he got pissy, like I was being ungrateful. That should have been my first warning. He sent a gate code and a unit number, and then nothing. I drove out there after my shift, still wearing the pawn shop polo that smelled like metal and old leather. The storage place sat behind a dead strip mall, all roll-up doors and busted asphalt. Office dark, no attendant, just a keypad light and a few cameras hanging off poles like they had necks. The gate screeched open slow, like it hadn't moved all day. I parked near the unit, killed my headlights, and for a second, I just sat there listening to my own breathing, trying to talk myself out of turning around. I grabbed gloves, trash bags, a headlamp, a cheap flashlight. I walked up to the unit, and the lock was right there, a disc lock that looked new, too clean for that place. The key he left in a little lockbox fit, technically, but the lock fought me like it didn't want to open. I twisted and twisted until my wrist hurt. I muttered, "Come on, you piece of shit," like the lock could hear me. It finally popped with a click that felt wrong, not satisfying, like something giving up. I rolled the door up and it jammed halfway. I shoved and it jumped free, metal shrieking. The smell slapped me right away. Damp carpet, old piss, that sour rot you get when something's been wet and sealed up too long. I kept my mouth shut and breathed through my nose like that helped. Inside, the unit didn't look like a normal dump. It looked arranged, been stacked neat along the back wall. Gray totes, all the same size, all lined up like someone measured the spacing. White tape labels with black marker. Only dates. Month, day, year. No clothes or tools. Just dates like a calendar you didn't want to flip. I stepped in, lights sweeping, and I saw piles of cord in grocery bags, stacks of cheap phone chargers, empty boxes for prepaid phones, a couple beat-up cameras, a half dozen old laptops with the batteries missing. At first I thought, okay, reseller, e-waste, hoarder with a system. Whatever. I started working. I bagged trash, shook out boxes, tried to keep my head down. Every few minutes I glanced at the driveway because I couldn't shake the feeling someone would pull up and catch me inside their unit, and then I'd have to explain why I was there with bags like a burglar. I found a laptop bag wedged between two totes. Nothing fancy, busted zipper, grime on the handle. I figured it was another dead computer. I opened it and hit a binder instead, heavy, stuffed, so full it bowed. I flipped it open and my stomach dropped so fast I almost gagged. Printed faces. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Not celebrities. Not models. Regular people. DMV photos with that dead-eyed glare. Work badge shots with corporate backdrops. Some had names half cut off. Some had full names, job titles, sometimes an address block like it got copied from some database. There were notes in pen, quick and blunt. Height, weight, lives alone, night shift, has kid. On a few pages, somebody had taped hair to the paper under clear tape. Little clumps, different colors, different textures. Like trophies, like proof. I just stared because my brain didn't want to accept what my eyes already knew. I flipped another page with my glove, and I saw a strip of tape with dark hair and a little smear under it like something had stuck when it was still damp. I backed up a step and almost tripped over a tote. I said out loud, "Nope, fuck that," and immediately felt stupid for making noise. Like the unit would answer me. My first instinct was to close it, drop it, get out, pretend I didn't see any of it. Then reality punched in. If I left, I'd still have touched it, still been there, still be the last person in the place if something went sideways. I needed proof. I needed something that said I didn't make this up and I wasn't part of it. So I pulled my phone out with shaking hands and snapped pictures of the binder pages. Faces, notes, hair taped like someone's sick little scrapbook. The second I took the last photo, my phone lit up with a login alert. Not a text, one of those security pop-ups that makes your blood run cold. New sign-in detected. Device I didn't recognize. Location I didn't recognize. I hadn't even moved. I hadn't opened an app besides the camera. I hit no, not me, and the screen lagged like my phone suddenly got heavy. Another alert appeared right after, like someone was hammering my account the moment I did something. It didn't feel random. It felt timed, like a tripwire. I swore and tried to turn my phone off, and it wouldn't fully shut down at first. The power slider froze, then jumped. I shoved the phone in my pocket anyway and started backing out of the unit, eyes on the driveway. I rolled the door down partway, then stopped because I didn't have a lock and I didn't want to trap myself in there, which is funny now because that's exactly where I ended up. I hurried to my car, got in, slammed the door, and tried the key. Click. Nothing. Dash lights flickered once and died. I tried again, harder like force would fix it. Click. My throat tightened. I got out and popped the hood because my body wanted something to do besides panic. My flashlight beam found the battery right away. The cable sat there like it was connected, but when I grabbed it, it lifted off clean. The nut had been backed off just enough to fail. Not cut, not snapped, loosened, clean, like someone had taken a socket, turned it a few times, and walked away, smiling. I felt heat rise up my neck. I spun around, scanning the rows, and the place was dead quiet. No footsteps, no voices, no other cars, just the cameras and the hum of distant road noise. I pulled my phone out again, fingers slick, and called the property manager. Straight to voicemail. I texted him that my car wouldn't start and the unit had weird shit in it. No reply. I called again. Same. I tried 911 and my call didn't connect at first. It just sat there dialing, then dropped. My signal bars bounced like they couldn't decide if they existed. I opened my tow app because I needed light, movement, anything. Before I even finished the request, the app pinged and said a driver was already assigned. Already, like I called it earlier, like someone else had done it on my account. I tried to cancel. The button grayed out. The screen refreshed, and the cancel option vanished entirely. A little car icon on the map moved down the rows toward me, slow and steady. No company name, no rating, no photo, just driver en route, and a message that said to stay with my vehicle. I whispered, "Nope," and backed away from my car, heart punching my ribs. Headlights appeared at the end of the lane and rolled up without urgency. No boom, no flashing ambers, just a dark vehicle, the kind you see everywhere and never remember. It stopped in a spot that boxed me between rows. The light stayed on, washing the doors in white. The driver stepped out, and I saw the latex gloves right away, bright against the dark. White gloves in a storage lot at night. That's not normal. That's not. I'm here to help. He shut his door gently and started walking toward me like we had an appointment. I backed up, hands up without meaning to, and I tried to shout something smart, something like wrong car or I didn't call, but my voice came out thin. He kept coming. Not fast, not slow, just certain. I turned and ran because my brain finally dropped the act and went pure animal. Gravel slid under my shoes. I sprinted back to the unit, yanked the roll-up door down, and dove inside. The metal slammed shut behind me with a hollow bang that echoed in my teeth. I spun and grabbed the bottom edge to lift it back up, and my fingers hit smooth metal and nothing else. No handle, no release, no latch. I shoved and the door barely moved, jammed in the track, same spot it stuck earlier, and it dropped back down like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I heard footsteps outside, close now, and then a light tap on the door, not a knock like someone testing a cage. My phone buzzed in my pocket, and when I looked, another login alert sat there waiting like a joke. I backed away from the door, breathing hard, flashlight shaking across the neat dated bins and the binder bag like it was staring back at me, and I realized I didn't run into safety. I ran into the place that was set up for me. I ran into the unit, slammed the door, and realized there was no latch on the inside. I joined a men's accountability group because my breakup wrecked me and I wanted structure. I was a junior sales guy trying not to spiral. Meetings were Tuesday nights in a co-working space. My plan was to do the worksheets, keep my head down, and get my life back. I didn't go because I believed in any of that masculine healing shit. I went because I kept waking up with my phone in my hand and a knot in my throat, already drafting messages I knew I shouldn't send. I was showing up at work with the same suit 3 days in a row, hair greasy, breath tasting like last night's beer. My manager started saying my name the way people say problem. So when a guy in my office told me, "It's a group, it keeps you accountable," I grabbed it like a handle. The room looked like every startup pitch room in the city. Glass walls, cheap chairs, a whiteboard with faded marker ghosts. Nick ran it. Mid-30s, calm voice, clean sneakers, smile that never touched his eyes. He didn't talk like a preacher. He talked like a coach. That's what got me. They started soft. Breath work. Goals. Then they pushed confession like it was medicine. You'd say something ugly about yourself, and they'd nod like you just done cardio. The first weeks, I could keep it harmless. I drank too much. I stalked her socials. Everybody clapped for honesty. I felt lighter walking out, like I dumped my trash somewhere it couldn't stink up my apartment. Then the structure tightened, and it happened fast enough I didn't notice the click. One Tuesday, they passed out a commitment packet with our names printed on it. 2 pages of friendly words that still read like rules. No missed meetings without approval, no isolating, no outside advice that undermines the work, no acting out online. Nick made it sound like a gym membership. "It's not control," he said. "It's safety." Guys signed. I signed because everyone else did. They added a group chat. Not optional. They wanted to check in every morning. 1 sentence. "Where's your head?" If you didn't respond, 3 guys would tag you within an hour. "You good?" "Don't ghost. Show up." It wasn't warmth. It was a net. Nick paired each of us with a mentor and said the mentor was there to hold the mirror. Mine was Troy. Wedding ring, tight haircut, the kind of guy who says brother like it's a rank. He got my number, and within an hour he sent. Voice note before bed. 3 minutes. Where you went, who you saw, what you wanted. I laughed out loud in my kitchen. Like, what, am I on parole? But the room had this pressure that made you obey. If you pushed back, they didn't yell. They just stared, waited, and let you feel like the only weak link. So I recorded the first note, then another. Then it became a daily thing without anyone ever asking if I agreed. Troy wanted details. Times. Names. Routes. He'd ask why I stopped at a different gas station, why I didn't mention a woman in the background of my gym selfie, why my voice sounded flat. If I got annoyed, he'd call it resistance. If I went vague, he'd call it avoidance. Every answer turned into a diagnosis he owned. He'd send back little lectures like he was reading my fortune. You're seeking validation. You're hiding behind sarcasm. You're 1 drink away from blowing your life up. On Tuesdays, they turn it up. The circle became a courtroom with no judge, just Nick guiding the room with that calm voice. He'd praise guys who went deep. Then he'd press them until they said something that made their faces crack. If somebody hesitated, Nick would look around and ask, "What do we do when a man hides?" And the group would answer like it was a chant. "We don't let him." I tried to keep my head down. I did the worksheets. I stayed quiet. Troy kept pushing for the real story. He wanted me to read old messages to my ex out loud. The ones I sent when I was losing it. I didn't want to. I told him that was private. He said, "Private is where shame rots." One night, after work, he texted me twice asking why I'd taken a different way home. I snapped back, "This is stupid." Just that. 1 sentence. He didn't argue. He sent a voice note back, soft as syrup. That's the boy talking. The boy wants comfort. Are you a boy or a man? It pissed me off because it wasn't a question. It was a trap with a smile. The next Tuesday, Nick brought my stupid comment up in the room like I'd handed him a weapon. He didn't say my name at first. One of our men is struggling with authority, he said, scanning until his eyes stuck to me. He thinks structure is control. That's entitlement. Guys nodded like they'd seen it in me the whole time. I felt my throat close, and I hated myself for caring. After the meeting, Troy cornered me by the elevators and told me I owed the group a repair. I told him, low and sharp, that I didn't owe anybody shit. He smiled and listed small facts about me. My commute, my building's doorman's name, like it was nothing. I stood there with my keycard in my hand and felt my skin go cold. That's when I tried to quit. I skipped a Tuesday. I didn't send a night voice note. I went to bed with my phone face down and felt proud for about 8 minutes. Next morning, I had missed calls from numbers I didn't know. Then a Slack from my manager. Can you come to conference B? No HR, door shut. My boss slid a printout across the table, screenshots of my text from 2 years ago, cropped and highlighted to look like threats. No context, no replies, just the worst lines lined up like evidence. I could barely breathe. I asked where he got it. He said someone in the community was worried and wanted to protect the company. He said he didn't want a situation. He said my name like a warning. I argued. I told him those texts were old. There was a breakup, that nobody filed anything, that this was bullshit. He kept repeating, I'm trying to help you. That's when you know you're fucked, when someone frames a noose as a favor. I looked through the glass wall and saw Nick sitting outside, sipping coffee, legs crossed like he owned the building. My stomach dropped. I walked out into the hall and lost my temper, low and ugly, because people were nearby. Nick didn't flinch. He said, we don't want to hurt your career. He didn't threaten me. He didn't have to. He just made it clear he could make me unemployable without ever laying a hand on me. They didn't punch me. They didn't chase me. They just tightened my life until every door I touched had their fingerprints on it. My manager started checking in daily. A client complained about my tone with a quote I hadn't said in any email. My gym card stopped working for billing issues. My landlord emailed about noise reports on nights I wasn't home. When I blocked Troy, a new number sent the same messages. Calm, correct, like a system. I went to the cops in my head 100 times and never did it. What do you even say? A self-help group is ruining my life with paperwork and phone calls. It sounded insane. That's how they got away with it. Everything stayed just barely normal enough to make me doubt myself. So I went back. I showed up Tuesday like nothing happened. Nick greeted me like I'd made a healthy choice. Troy shook my hand too long and told me he was proud. They made me do a repair in front of the room. I had to call my pushback fear. I had to say I'd been avoiding accountability. I heard my mouth forming their words, and I felt sick, but my life smoothed out within a week. My boss relaxed. The weird landlord email stopped. The pressure eased like a thumb lifting off a bruise. Then they started charging for real. Weekly program fees. One-on-one intensives. If you hesitated, they called it scarcity mindset. Troy would Venmo request me while I was at work, then text, pay it now so you don't stew. I paid because every time I paid and complied, the world stopped scraping at me. And the ugly truth is the rules started working on my brain. The notes forced me to narrate myself. The chat forced me to perform calm. The circle forced me to confess before anyone could accuse. I started living like I was always being reviewed. A month in, a new guy walked in with the same raw look I'd had. Red eyes, hands shaking. Nick pointed at me and said, pair him with our man here. He understands commitment. Troy smiled like I'd earned a promotion. The new guy started sending me his voice notes. I listened to him panic about his ex, and I heard myself answering in Troy's tone. I used the same words, resistance, avoidance, repair, like they were tools I owned. When he tried to skip a Tuesday, I didn't comfort him. I pressured him. I told him he was safe here and that skipping would make things worse. I hung up and realized my hands weren't shaking from anger. They were shaking from relief. I stayed. I paid. I repeated the lines. And the worst part is this. After a month, I stopped hating them. I started calling new guys myself, telling them they were safe here because it felt good to be the one holding the leash for once.